Hello, hello. Welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. You may need a strap for today's class, so please grab something that resembles a strap. And let's find a comfortable seat. So just the other day, I realized that I had lost my charger for my smartphone, and I felt this like wave of anxiety start to come over me, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to teach Zoom yoga today and blah blah blah, or the following day, because that was overnight. And it's interesting how religious I'll speak for myself, I can be about charging my cell phone. I don't know if you can relate in any way, or charging your electronics, and how that can be sort of brought me to thinking about our bodies, our minds and our spirits, and how, what ways do we charge that sort of on a regular basis consistently? Because we can charge our cars, we can bring it to the repairs and get it tuned, we can, take care of all our appliances. And how consistently do we bring that same care to our whole beings? So there's the physical body, the mental, and then our inner being, our energetic and spiritual. It really got me to sit in gratitude about these yoga tools and how they are a charger for our whole beings. We got the physical tools of yoga, which can help us to re-energize, declutter our bodies of accumulated stress and tension. We have the breath work, which helps us to skillfully decide, okay, do we need to calm down a bit, or do we need to heighten our energy a bit? And we can use these particular different breath techniques to do so. And then we sit in meditation, and there's a decluttering of perception, the patterns of the mind that might inhibit us from seeing things clearly off the mat in our daily lives. So there's so much treasure in this practice as we bring these various limbs of yoga together. We'll move through them like we're sharpening our tools so that they're more readily available when we're not just in an hour or a few minutes of yoga practice, but when we're out and about, when we lose our charger for our cell phone and anxiety starts to arise, so that we can deal with everyday life from a place of feeling charged, plugged in to our inner source. So with that, finding a comfortable seat, perhaps rest your hands on your lap, maybe face down to feel groundedness, face up to feel energized, upliftedness. And start to connect to just how your breath is. In the limbs of yoga, we practice truthfulness. Sanskrit word is satya. So meeting ourselves exactly where we are in this moment. How your physical body feels and what it's been through today. Checking in with that. How your energetic body feels through all that you've digested today, not only food, but all kinds of stimuli. Your mental, emotional body as well. And how will you tend to yourself with satya and ahimsa, which is the very first limb of yoga, non-harm, with love, with compassion. Maybe joining your palms to meet at your heart, connecting to an intention, or dedicating the efforts you put into this practice for someone or something. So as we begin connecting as a community, let's use our voice to do so, chanting the vibrational sound of Om 3 times. So remember, there's a A, U, and a brief silence for each. Take a deep breath. And allow the breath to fill up your belly, your lungs, feeling even the back of your torso expand, heart space expand. Take a few breaths out through your mouth. Slower inhale each time next. Really feeling the sensation of breathing in fully, the full capacity of your lungs. So you're using your diaphragm and also expanding your belly. And you could continue with this long breath, closing the lips so that you're just breathing in and out through the nose, or a practice of Bastrika Pranayama, which is a specific breathing technique that helps to enliven your lungs, clear your mind, energize your body, as well as clean the lungs. So it is breathing in, breathing out through the nose, full use of your diaphragm, rhythmic, a little faster than we've been doing. And with it is a physical movement or kriya in which you bend your elbows apart, make your hands like fists. And as you inhale, you raise your arms straight up, spread your fingers wide. And as you exhale, you re-bend your elbows and re-fist your hands, sort of like this. So you want to think of your belly and lungs like a bellow, right? Expanding and releasing. And I'm going to set the timer for this practice of 1 minute. Ready? Begin. Keeping your spine upright, tall, shoulders relaxed, face relaxed. And relax. Just resting your hands in your lap, maybe closing your eyes, breathing naturally. Observe the effects of that pranayama. And now let's ease into a warming, focusing breath called Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breath. Smooth inhales through your nose and equal length exhales through your nose. All the while softly narrowing the back of your throat so that you engage your mind, your attention on a very faint, smooth, and balanced whispering sound to your breath. Still filling up belly and lungs to capacity, taking your time with each breath. And exhaling, letting the belly hollow in, navel draws in gently towards your spine. So continue to hear that sound of your Ujjayi Pranayama. If your eyes are closed, softly flutter them open. And let's crawl down onto hands and knees. We'll move to the pace of your breath in cat-cow. So let's turn out the hands here as your palms are face down so that you can stretch the inner sides of your forearms and wrists as well. whether your fingertips face the left and right or rear edge of your mat. Knees a couple inches behind your hips. With an inhale, draw your chest forward, then coil it up, looking up as you drop your shoulders. With an exhale, lifting your belly, contract it, looking down, tuck your tailbone to round. And then take several more cycles, feeling the entire inhalation lift your heart, and the entire exhalation round your back. And later on, as we move through what's called Vinyasas, which include plank pose, chaturanga, cobra pose, or upward dog, in place of that, you could take cat-cows just like this anytime you need to change it up. And rest anytime you need to. And then let's lean back onto your knees or your shins, making fists out of your hands. You're going to give the outer wrist a stretch. So let the fists come together, like giving yourself a fist bump. And then lean the backs of your fists onto the floor. Flare your elbows apart off the floor and start to glide slowly forward, placing weight onto your outer wrists. Just the amount that allows easy breathing and an adequate stretch into your outer forearms. Notice that your neck, your jaw are relaxed here. You might even softly move your head around. Let your shoulders move further down your back. Let's take one more full breath here. And then let's set the hands down flat so that your wrists are just under your shoulders. Your index fingers are parallel as they point forward. Thumbs are wide and flat. Tuck your toes, feet hips width apart. And with very bent knees, lift your hips as high as you can and as far back towards your rear wall as you can. So really find the fullest length of your spine, both the front and back of it. And then allow a few breaths if you'd like to pedal your feet out for a moment. Gently warming up the backs of your legs. Perhaps moving your skull, helping to loosen your neck. All the while still listening to that soft whisper at the back of your throat as you breathe in and out through your nose. Bend your knees, lift your hips a little bit higher if you can, from the belly in towards your back. Wrap your outer upper arms towards the floor, plugging the shoulder blades onto your upper back. Dropping your head, steady your eyes on the ground towards your feet, and let your heels become heavier and heavier, even if they don't touch the floor. Let's take another 2 deep breaths here, holding still in Adho Mukha Svanasana. So we use the physical practice, the asana, which is the third of 8 limbs of yoga, to embody presence, to practice concentration, all these skills that will lead us to the end of this physical practice in meditation. As you bend your knees, lift your heels and hips high, look past your fingertips. After exhaling, walk or float to the front of your mat. Feet apart, hips distance parallel, press into your shins or the ground. Shift your weight towards the front of your heels, and then firming your belly, you could keep your knees slightly bent here. Inhale, lift your chest forward into a flat back, rise halfway. Exhale, fold in. Pressing down through your feet, inhale, sweep your arms out to your sides, rising all the way up. Watch your palms meet overhead, keeping your shoulders relaxed. Exhale, trace your thumbs down the center line of your body, landing your arms by your sides, palms facing forward, mountain pose. Let's take 3 sun salutation A's, energizing. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, look up. Exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Inhale, press the ground of your shins, lengthen halfway up. Plant your hands and step into your plank pose, knees down or legs straight. Continue as you exhale to glide forward. Graze your bent elbows by your side ribs to lower all the way down. Point your toes Tops of the feet firming into the earth. Inhale, roll your shoulders back to lift and open your chest. Cobra pose, hugging your elbows close to your sides. Tuck your toes. As you exhale, engage your belly to press up through plank, lifting your hips back to downward facing dog. Let's pause here for 3 deep breaths. And at the bottom of your next exhalation, holding your breath out, think of lifting your pelvic floor as you walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. There, inhale, press with your fingertips to rise halfway. Exhale to fold in. Root to your feet, inhale, rise all the way, looking up. Exhale, tracing your midline, back to mountain pose. Keep going for 2 more cycles. Inhale, raising your arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, folding into Uttanasana. Inhale, rising halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. This time, either step to plank first or lightly jump into Chaturanga Dandasana, which is 4-limb staff. Continue on to Cobra or upward facing dog as you breathe in, engaging your belly to lift your hips back to downward facing dog as you breathe out. And once there, pause again, redefine your focus for 3 more breaths. Now taking one last cycle of Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salutation A. Go fully at the pace of your breath. So when you're ready, walk or float to the top of your mat and take it all the way through. Let's meet in downward facing dog. And once in downward facing dog, bring your feet together to touch. Continue to wrap your outer upper arms towards the ground, lifting your shoulders away from your neck. As you engage your belly in, inhale, glide forward into a full plank with your legs straight, shoulders right on top of your wrists. If needed, you can place your knees on the ground. Staying here for a few breaths, keep looking at the floor ahead of your hands, and now raise your right foot just to hover a few inches off the floor. Flexing your right foot, press the inner heel towards your rear wall. Feel the lift of your navel towards your lower back as you reach your tailbone towards your inner right heel. Take a deep in breath. Exhale, tap your right knee to your left elbow or outer upper arm here in plank. Inhale, re-extend your right leg to hover. Exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose, rounding your back in plank. Inhale, right leg hovers. Exhale, tap your right knee outside your right elbow or tricep in plank. And this time, lightly step the foot forward outside of your right hand, lowering your back knee in lizard lunge. So you can have your 2 hands on the floor or on blocks here, just inside of your right leg. Keep the whole sole of your right foot flat on the floor for this variation, pointing your right knee and middle toe straight ahead. As you inhale, backstroke your right arm, find that full rotation at your right shoulder socket. Look back at your right fingertips. Then exhale, replace your right hand where it was, inside the right leg, and scissor your right hip back to straighten the leg whatever degree you can, lifting the ball of the foot flexed as you fold, half split. Let's try that twice more. Inhale, rebend the right knee and backstroke your right arm. Look back. Exhale, replace the right palm, straighten right leg and fold. to your breath. Last time, inhale, rebend, backstroke, look back. Exhale, replant the right hand, straighten the leg, and fold. Now staying here, just for a couple more breaths, press the mound of your right big toe forward and enliven your right quadricep. Rebend your right knee, step your right foot directly between your hands here, and straighten the back leg, seal the heel down, grab your strap in case you may need it for your shoulders, and then cartwheel your arms into warrior two. So here you're aligning your right heel to the arch of your left foot. Wrap your right sitting bone underneath your body and firm the top of your left thigh bone behind you towards your right wall. And then taking the strap in your left hand, wrap your left arm around your back so the strap is dangling outside of your right thigh. We're going to come into a bound side angle pose. So bringing your right arm on the inner side of your right thigh, find the other end of the strap and walk your hands as close together as you can, holding the strap while pressing right arm and right thigh against each other, rotating your chest slightly to face the sky, and still wrapping your right sitting bone underneath your body. Let your belly engage here. Now, with your eyes, you could be looking up towards the sky. You could be looking towards your left wall. You could be looking down. See what feels okay on your neck to steady your gaze at. Some of you may clasp your fingers. Let's take another 4 deep breaths in Badakanasana, bound side angle pose. And then unwind your arms, rising up, straighten your right leg for triangle pose, in which you might want to shorten your stance 2 to 3 inches less. Glide your pelvis sideways towards the rear edge of your mat, reaching your right arm horizontally forward past your right knee. Lower your right hand onto your right leg or just to the right of the leg, maybe on a block. So your arm and leg can press against each other for added stability. Wrapping again your right sitting bone under. Feel your tailbone lengthen towards your outer left heel as the top of your head lengthens towards your front wall. Let's find a little more lateral extension in the left sideways. Wrap your left outer upper arm to face your left wall. It's the pinky finger side. And then reach your left arm overhead towards your front wall. Continue to spiral your chest towards the sky. Those of you that want to enliven your side waist just a little more, micro bend your right knee and raise your right arm parallel to the left as we take 3 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale, 3. In this version of Trikonasana, inhale. Exhale, 2. 1 more breath, relaxing your face. Exhale, rise into warrior 2 again. Flip your right palm to face up and sweep it towards your rear wall in peaceful warrior. Left hand lightly landing on left leg. Let your breath expand into the right wall of your rib cage and down into the right hip crease. Take another deep breath in. As you exhale, lower your hands into plank, optional vinyasa or a few cat-cows. You can also go straight to downward dog or take a moment in child's pose. So rebalancing your energy in your own way. We'll meet in downward dog with your feet together touching. Take a deep breath in and slow whispering breath out. Inhale, glide forward into plank pose with your legs straight or knees on the ground, shoulders right over wrists. Keep breathing here. Steady your eyes on the floor, 1 foot ahead of your hands. Feel your center lifted. Flexing your left foot off the floor just to hover. Take a deep breath and lengthen tailbone and inner left heel towards your rear wall. Exhale, cross your left knee to tap your right elbow or tricep here in plank. Inhale, re-extend your left leg to hover. Exhale, contract your belly, bending your left knee towards your nose in plank. Inhale, re-extend your left leg. Exhale, tap left knee to left elbow or tricep, and then very softly land the foot forward outside of your left hand. Lower your back knee into lizard lunge. So hands can be both on the floor or on blocks inside of your left leg. Again, in this variation, keep the whole sole of your left foot on the floor and left knee and middle toe facing forward. Take a deep breath in and backstroke your left arm. Look towards your rear wall at your fingertips. Exhale, replace your left palm inside of your left foot. Scissoring left hip back, straighten your left leg, whatever degree you can. Flexing the toes up as you bow. Let's keep going. Inhale, rebend left knee. Backstroke left arm, look back. Exhale, replant left hand, scissor, left hip, straight leg, fold. Inhale, bend, backstroke, look back. Exhale, left hand down, scissors, straighten the leg, and bow. Now let's rebend the left knee, step your left foot. So actually, we stayed a little longer in the first side, so please go ahead and straighten the left leg again. And let's take just a few more breaths in this version of half split, or Ardha Hanumanasana. So as you're flexing your left foot here, press the big toe mound forward. Feel your left quadricep gently lift your kneecap towards your hip bone. And now let's rebend left knee, slide your left foot between your hands, spin the right heel down as you straighten your right leg, aligning front heel to arch a back foot, grab your strap, and cartwheel your arms to rise up. So in Warrior Two, take a moment to feel your left sitting bone wrap underneath your body, counterbalanced with firming the top of your right thigh bone back towards your left wall. And then keeping that alignment, take the strap in your right hand and wrap your right arm behind you so that the long part of the strap dangles outside of your left thigh. Use your left hand on the inner side of your left thigh to catch hold of the other end of the strap. Then as you walk your hands closer together, press left arm and left thigh against each other, keeping that left knee bent, facing forward, while spiraling your chest to face the sky and scooping your left sitting bone under as you draw your tailbone back towards your right heel. So in this bound side angle, we're using it to help open the top shoulder. Here it's the right shoulder. So you want to feel as though you're slightly leaning back as you're rotating the chest up, not at all bowing forward towards the left edge of your mat. Let's take another 4 breaths. Pressing down through your feet, unbind your arms to rise and straighten your left leg. Perhaps shorten your stance 2 to 3 inches for triangle. Glide your hips sideways towards the back edge of your mat, reaching your left hand past your left knee before lowering it onto your leg. Or just to the left of your leg, maybe on a block, feeling arm and leg pressing against each other. Continue to roll your left sitting bone under your body, and even more so, direct your tailbone to lengthen towards your right heel as the top of your head lengthens towards your front wall. Now let's find a little more lateral extension by rotating your right tricep or outer upper arm to face your right wall. Then sweeping your right arm overhead towards your front wall. Keep sending your shoulder blades down your back, hugging your front ribs in towards your back as you spiral your chest open towards the sky. 4 more breaths in Utthita Trikonasana. Extended triangle pose. Oh, and if you did so on the first side, you can raise the left arm parallel to the right with a micro bend in your left knee. Let's take another 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 2. Deep breath here. And slowly, inhale, rise. Bend your left knee again. Flip your left palm to face up and sweep it towards your rear wall, landing your right hand gently on your right leg. Peaceful or exalted warrior. Let's take a deep breath into the left wall of your rib cage, down into your left hip flexor. Another breath in. And exhale, lower your fingertips at the top of your mat. Step your right foot to touch the left, top of your mat, forward fold. Bending your knees together. Inhale, sit into chair pose. And exhale, bow forward for 1 round of Surya Namaskar B. Continuous flow. Inhale, rise halfway. Step or float into your Vinyasa. Remember, you could substitute it with cat-cow pose. When you arrive in downward facing dog, connect movement to breath. Inhale, raise right leg, keeping your hips square. Exhale, lightly step your foot forward inside of your right hand. Spin the back heel down with your feet hips width apart. Inhale, rise to face forward in Warrior One. Use the exhale to lower through plank into Chaturanga, taking it into your Vinyasa. And then back to downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg, keeping your hips leveled. Exhale the foot forward inside of your left hand, back heel down, both hips facing forward. Inhale, rise into Warrior One. Exhale, lower from plank into your Vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Resteadying your gaze or drishti to build focus. And when you're ready, at the end of your exhale, walk or float to the top. Feet touching, inhale, lengthen halfway up. Exhale to fold. Knees touching, inhale into chair. Let's add a twist, joining your hands together at your heart. Sink your hips back, keep your knees in one line. Breathing in, lengthen your spine from your pelvis. Now at your waistline, as you exhale, begin to turn your rib cage to face your right wall, little by little. Now you could hook your left elbow outside of your right thigh if that's accessible here. You could keep your hands in prayer or open your arms wide. Think of drawing your left sitting bone further back to keep your knees in one line, which is actually to keep your hips squared and stabilize your lower back. Let's take another 4 breaths here in Parita Utkatasana. Sinking your hips a little lower, unwind your arms, inhale back to chair pose. Press through your feet, exhale, rise to mountain pose. Take a deep inhale to your nose, stick out your tongue, and exhale wide through your mouth. cooling, cleansing lion's breath. And then back to closing your lips. Second side. Bend your knees to touch. Inhale, chair, Utkatasana. Join your hands at your heart. Exhale, begin to twist at your waistline to your left. Maybe sitting a little lower if you want to hook right elbow outside left thigh. Try to find the same variation of your arms as you did on the first side. Think of drawing right sitting bone back, shoulder blades down the back. 4 more breaths. Sit a little lower. Inhale and wind your arms up. Back to Utkatasana. Exhale, this time fold Uttanasana. Inhale, rise halfway, step into plank pose. Bringing the feet together to touch for side plank. Begin with shoulders right over wrists. Find a slight grip under your fingertips. Then roll onto the outside edge of your left foot. Flexing your left foot as you raise right arm towards sky. Now you can add support by stepping the right foot on the ground flat, just in front of your left toes. You could keep your feet stacked and flex both of your feet. You could also come into hand to big toe pose where you bend right knee towards your belly. Use your right index and middle fingers to clasp your right big toe. Extend the right leg forward, foot is flexed. And then turn out the right leg towards the sky, pressing the ground away with left palm and left sole. So you're feeling your left side of your waist lift away from the floor here. Let's take another 4 breaths in whatever variation of your Vashisthasana. Slowly lowering to hands and knees for cat-cow, or flipping it over, stepping the ball of your right foot outside the left edge of your mat and turning belly and chest to face the sky in Wild Thing or tripod back bend. So if you're in Wild Thing, you want to lift your pelvis, drop your head back. Right arm is swept overhead towards the front wall. And then let's slowly make our way back to downward facing dog. Feel your neck and shoulders here. Wrap your triceps towards the floor and stabilize your shoulder blades wide across your upper back as you lengthen your neck. Bring your feet together to touch. Inhale, glide forward into plank, shoulders right over wrists. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot, flexing it. Raising left arm towards the sky. Optional to add support, stepping left foot on the floor in front of right toes. Otherwise, stacking both feet are flexed. Option to move into hand to big toe variation by bending left knee towards your belly, catching hold of the big toe with your left index and middle fingers as you flex the left foot, extending the left leg forward, and then turning out the leg towards the sky. Use every part of your body pressing the ground to lift up. 4 more breaths. Steady your eyes. Now you can slowly lower onto cat-cow or flip it over into Wild Thing, stepping the ball of your left foot outside the right edge of your mat, turning belly and pelvis up towards the sky as you drop your head back. And let's slowly lower onto hands and knees. flipping the palms to face up, whether one palm at a time or both at the same time for a few breaths of stretching your outer wrists and forearms. And then as you come back to hands and knees, lower your chin towards the floor. Pause there, scoop the belly and look forward. Hug your elbows close to your side ribs. Tailbone high, shoulders away from the neck. Then glide your chest forward, belly forward, pelvis to the floor. And then from here, come into forearm, Sphinx Pose. So your forearms on the floor, lifting your chest off the ground. Slide your shoulders down your back. And let's bring the knees as close together as you can here. Pointing your toes back. So keeping your chest lifted, cross your left forearm in front of your chest. Bend your right knee. Backstroke your right arm. And with your right hand, catch the big toe side or inner side of your right ankle or foot. Bring your right heel slowly towards just slightly outside of your right hip as you ground your two frontal hip bones and keep your chest wide open facing forward, sending both shoulders down your back. Now imagine breathing into the front muscle of your right thigh, the quadricep. And perhaps any other area that might be heightening in sensation at this moment. For about 3 more breaths. With an exhale, release your right leg straight. And let's bring both forearms in front again into Sphinx Pose, scooting your knees close together. Now crossing your right forearm in front of your chest. Bend your left knee and backstroke your left arm so that your hand catches the big toe side, the inside of left ankle or foot. With your knees no wider apart than your hips distance, ground your two frontal hip bones and bring your left heel slightly to the outside of your left hip. Pressing the ground away with your right forearm, send both of your shoulders down your back, opening your chest to face forward. Let's take another 3 deep breaths. And then gently release your left leg, lower your forehead to the floor to prepare for Shalabhasana, Locust Pose. So in this variation, I invite you to bend your elbows apart like the shape of a cactus. So their elbows are in line with your shoulders and they're laying pretty much outside your mat here. Then keeping your ankles no wider apart than your hips distance, keep your feet parallel as you point your toes back. Let's begin by pressing the tops of your feet into the mat, pubic bone into the mat. As you inhale to coil your chest, lifting your shoulders, head, and arms still in the cactus shape. Draw your shoulder blades down your back ribs and see if you can roll the fronts of your shoulders further back to tilt your heart further forward and up. Now, optional, if you don't have any lower back tenderness, you can go ahead and try to lift your legs off the floor as well. Otherwise, I invite you to keep your feet on the floor for added support for your lower back. Let's take at least 3 more breaths. Perhaps you stay longer. And when you decide to come down, turn your head to one side, pigeon toe your feet, and take 3 deep belly breaths, exhaling through your mouth. So this next back bend, the last one here, is Danurasana or bow pose. You also have the option of doing Shalabhasana just like we did it before, if you prefer that. So have your knees as close together as you can to start. Bend your knees, reach back with both hands to catch hold of your outer feet, the pinky toe side. Press your pubic bone into the floor and begin to kick your legs towards straight while pulling your feet towards your glutes to coil your chest up. Feel the power of your legs here. Send your shoulder blades down your back. Blossom your chest forward as you look at the floor just ahead to maintain the length in the back of your neck. So give yourself at least 3 more breaths before you lower to rest. Try to keep your knees no wider apart than your hips distance to support your lower back. And when you land to rest, turn your head in the opposite direction, and you can pigeon toe your feet, or this time windshield wiper your shins to drop together side to side. Breathe into your belly. Let any sound release through your mouth. And let's slide back into child's pose with your arms extended forward, feet together, knees together or apart, pelvis sinking down to your heels. Slide your hands toward your outer knees, and with an inhale, slowly roll your spine upright to sit. Let's bring the legs in front, extending your right leg forward. Step your left foot either in front of the hip or outside of your right knee as we prepare for a seated twist. Now, if the latter variation, you can also bend your right knee as long as your 2 sitting bones are evenly anchored. Backstroke your left hand to the floor just behind your pelvis and raise your right arm up. Press into the ground as you inhale to lift tall through your spine. To your left, exhale, twist, lowering your right hand on your left shin or hooking your right elbow outside of your left thigh. Each inhale, press into the earth and rise through your spine. Each exhale, let the belly hollow as you're gently turning your chest. Let's take one more deep breath here. And with an exhale, release, extending your left leg forward to switch. So try for the same variation, right foot in front of right hip or outside of left knee, maybe also bending left knee. Place your right hand behind your pelvis, raise your left arm up, press into the ground, breathe in to rise taller. Breathe out to twist to your right. Left hand holds right shin or left elbow hooks outside right thigh. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, continue to twist. One more deep breath. And as you exhale, unwind into Badakanasana, bringing the soles of your feet together, splaying your knees apart, catch hold of your outer feet or your big toes, and slide your heels close to your pubic bone. Come on to the tips of your sitting bones. Inhale, open your chest, open your throat, and lengthen through your spine. Exhale, begin to hinge from your hips, belly firming towards your back. Pause as you inhale, reground your pelvis, and further lengthen your spine. And then exhale, maybe fold a little more. Perhaps you walk your hands forward. One more deep breath. Slowly walk your hands towards your feet. Begin to lift your chest, breathing in to rise up. Let's extend the legs forward for Pashimotanasana, in which you might use a strap around the balls of your feet or walk your hands down your legs. Flex your feet apart, hips distance. Press down to your sitting bones, lift up to your crown. And with an exhale, start to hinge from your hips. Find a little bit of Cobra Pose as you open your chest and draw your shoulder blades down your back. If you're walking your hands down your legs, you might clasp your big toes with your index and middle fingers. One more deep breath. Leading with your chest, inhale, slowly rise up. Now either grab a block for supported shoulder stand or go into a full-on shoulder stand, if that is part of your usual practice. Supported shoulder stand, you can step your feet on the ground as you line your back to lift your hips. Then place the block right under your sacrum, flat part of your lower back. And from there, extend your legs straight up while resting on the block. Regular shoulder stand, elbows are really close to your rib cage as you plug them down. Hands helping to lift your pelvis to stack right above your shoulders. Vertical line from ankles, pelvis to shoulders, tilting your chin back and keeping your head still. You might also lift the legs overhead from shoulder stand into Plow Pose or Halasana. This is start to lower your body. You can bend your knees apart, come into happy baby. You can come into fish pose, which helps to counterbalance shoulder stand. Perhaps drawing your bent knees into your chest, giving your whole self, whole body a hug. Thank you, embrace. And there you might take one last deep controlled breath into the nose, holding it in for a few seconds before exhaling through the mouth, a sigh, splaying your limbs apart, landing in corpse pose, Shavasana. So as you find a position to rest your body in, close your eyes and let go to your natural breath pace. We'll be here for a few minutes before our guided meditation. Resting a little longer in Shavasana, allow a moment to observe the effects of your physical practice on your body, mind, and energetic state. Perhaps keeping your eyes closed, begin to move your fingers and toes, easing into your hands and feet, gradually into your arms and legs, perhaps also moving your head. Gently draw your knees into your chest and roll to your right side, resting your head. Continuing to cultivate this awareness of your internal state. When you're ready, press the ground away to rise, giving your body a comfortable seat, perhaps on a prop or on the ground. We're going to begin with Pratyahara. As you might remember, it's the fifth limb of yoga, and it's the practice of withdrawing from external stimuli. Lays the groundwork for the meditation practice. And one way to practice Pratyahara is through a breathing technique, an actual pranayama. It's called, and it's where we actually close off the sensory organs so that we can tune inward through a vibratory sound. It's also called bee's breath, and you'll find out why. So I'll demonstrate. We're going to use the thumbs to close the ears. So you might not want to use that now so you can hear me. And then the index and middle fingers to gently close the eyelids. The ring fingers gently close the nostrils, but not all the way. They just narrow. And then the pinky fingers help to seal the top lip, so both lips are closed. So we close these physically and symbolically. We turn the attention inward, and then we take a deep breath in through the nose. Nostrils are open here. And then as you gently close the nostrils partially, you hum through the lips. Inhale through the nose. Gently close the nostrils with the ring fingers, not all the way, and hum through the lips. So let's try 10 rounds of breath. And I won't talk while you're doing it because you can't hear me anyway. So we'll use the thumbs. Just don't close the ears right away. Just place them there. And then index and middle fingers, gently close the eyelids. Ring fingers, almost close the nostrils, press them. And the pinky fingers help to close the lips. Take an inhale through the nose. Now close the ears and start 10 rounds of humming. And at your own pace, when you finish 10 rounds of humming with Ujjayi Pranayama, let your hands rest in your lap in your chosen mudra, perhaps thumb and index finger to touch, or stacking your palms, bringing thumbs to touch. Let your spine feel tall, back strong, heart space light, spacious, and open. Now, either closing your eyes or softly steadying them on one spot just ahead. Continue to breathe naturally. And in this practice of cultivating a quality of chosen clarity, I invite you to visualize a symbol of clarity. So what to you represents clarity? Perhaps it's an archetype, maybe something in nature, perhaps an animal that represents clarity, or someone whom you admire that exudes clarity. As you visualize that image right in front of you, let's take 2 minutes to allow that image to affect breathing with clarity, aligning your physical body to feel a posture of clarity, and allowing your whole being to take on the quality of clarity as you see that image in your mind's eye. Let your lungs fill up with clear breath. And releasing through your mouth, perhaps your wind. So as we close this practice of strengthening the tools that we have to plug in to our inner minds, for our bodies, for our breaths, for our inner being, what area in your life might you show up with this renewed presence of clarity? Just a food for thought as we close, chanting one last Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.